Coming up on the Late Night Fix, meet Matt and his partner Jin, the founders of Man's Bestie.
The leap of faith, the hurdles, the supportive partner. Throw away the leash and tune into episode 8. Hey guys, and welcome to the Late Night Fix. This is episode 8. I'm Muzzy K with my co-host Hazza. How are we tonight, bro?
Going extremely well, Muzzy K. How are you?
Good, very good, man.
We're joined in the studio tonight by Matt and his lovely partner Jin. Hey guys, how are you?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much.
Not much. So today's episode is going to be about your business, Matt, Man's Bestie.
Yes,
So you run a dog walking business, is that right?
that's correct.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. And how long have you guys been doing this for now?
Roughly about 2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 2.5 years.
Yeah.
With my personal business, but before that I was walking dogs for about 2 years before that.
So you've always liked dogs and pets and that
Yes,
sort of thing?
always liked dogs, grew up with dogs, always had dogs around me as a kid.
Yeah.
I never really thought I was actually going to be a dog walker, but it just kind of really just kind of happened one day, and then I just ran with it and never looked back. Yeah.
Jin, how did Matt come up with the idea to start a dog walking business?
Oh, let me tell you.
Yeah.
He came up actually with it quite a lot. Like he kept talking about it.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
You know, he'd wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and as any normal person would be sleeping, and he'd sort of nudge me, and I'd wake up and he goes, "Oh, I've been thinking about doing my own business. I want to do dog walking." And you just at that time of the morning and throughout the day, you're just like, "All right, mate, that's a pipe dream. Excellent, good. Okay, go back to bed."
Yeah.
But you know what? Testament to him, he went for it and
Wow.
he did it. And I was shocked. He really, really impressed me, I'll have to say.
Wow.
Because it's not something,
Yep.
you would pursue. You leave a full-time job and
Yeah.
you want to go walk dogs. All right, sure, on the weekend, that's lovely. But full-time job, who would have thought?
Yep. And is this the first business idea you've had?
No.
No?
I used to own a promotions company, and
Okay.
I think, that was the kind of company that I started, and it failed. It only really failed due to my laziness, though. I easily could have kept going with it, but I had the business and went to Thailand to do kickboxing, and when I came back, I just didn't pursue the promotions company. But, so I've had business before, totally different to dog walking. But, this would be my second business, I would say.
You had a hire car business as well, didn't you?
Yeah, but that was more that was a hashtag side hustle that we did before on the podcast. That was more of a side hustle. That wasn't a full-time job. The promotions company was a full-time job, or ended up being a full-time job. And the dog walking business is a full-time job. Yeah.
That side hustle was pretty cool, though, got to admit.
You
With the
that
Chevy.
one?
Nice Chevy,
The old Chevy, yeah.
And it had this gorgeous pearl green roof as well, and it sparkled. And he would wear a green tie or a green shirt to match it. Like, I thought it was the best.
Yeah, that was a fun job, actually. If you ever want to do a fun job and you like cars and you like driving cars, I highly recommend to do formals and weddings and that kind of work, because it's like you're getting paid to drive the car that you love on the weekend. Like, it's literally like just ticking all the boxes of fun, plus you're getting paid. So, like, it's like a no-brainer to make money and have fun at the same time.
And cool.
Yeah.
And have you always gone into businesses on your own, or have you had a partner?
I think every single time was on my own. There was a couple of deals that I got with my promotions company. The biggest deal I had was with Event Cinemas, and that was help with my dad. My dad sent them an email, and he kind of got the ball rolling with that. But pretty much everything else was my own, except for that Event Cinemas deal with my dad. Everything else, was done by me.
What do you need to do to start up a business?
Oh, okay. Start up a business. I would say one of the first things you should do, well, obviously you have to have a business name and ABN and all that kind of stuff. The next thing you should be looking at is creating a website. It'd be a lot easier if you could try to figure out creating a website yourself, so you don't have to pay for someone to do it. And then if you pay for someone to do it, then you're always going to need them to do the upgrades and do all that kind of stuff. So you should look into trying to know how to create your own website.
Yep.
Next thing, you should have like a social media presence, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. So once you have those kind of first things set, then you can kind of, go from there.
Beautiful.
We did a lot of flyering, can I just say?
We did a lot of flyering too.
A lot
yeah.
of flyering.
Well,
I honestly think we covered half of Sydney, or half of Ryde, that's for sure.
and you started getting phone calls.
So the flyering is very hit and miss. Like you could flyer, like 200-300 houses and you won't get one call back. But then you do an extra 100 and then you might get one customer type of thing. But that one customer you get is a reoccurring customer. So it kind of pays off the whole thing just with one customer type of thing. So it can be, quite worth it to do flyering. But then, you're doing a lot of hit and miss as well.
Okay. And workers, do you employ many people?
At the moment, it's just myself, but I will be looking to employ people very, very soon in the future.
If I'd like to work for you, what do I need? Do I need a car? Do I need...
So basically, you'll need to have a car that you're happy to put dogs in, and you'll need an ABN number. That's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. And
a passion and love for dogs, of course.
that was my next question. So there are a lot of dog lovers in Sydney, aren't there? You're never short of work.
That's right. There's a lot of people that want to do dog walking, but from so far I've had quite a few bad experiences of people wanting to do dog walking, but they're not really that committed and being mucked around. And I think one of the hardest things in business is finding good staff. That's one of the hardest things you can do in business is trying to find good staff.
Can I ask...
Good reliable staff, I would say.
Yeah. What advice do you have for people that have just started a business and they're looking for good staff? What do you look for?
How about I give advice for those that are seeking to work for a company and put
even better. Yeah.
How about you show up to your first shift? Yeah?
Wow, really?
Step one, show up to your first shift.
You've had that experience?
I've had that.
How often?
Oh, okay. I'll give you an example.
That's shocking.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So my promotions company, I had this chick, right? She was going to do like promo work, right?
Yep.
And the first day, she told me she has a flat tire and she can't come to her first shift. And I was like pretty ruthless back then too, because I was quite young and, you know, and I said to her, okay, that's cool. You don't have a job anymore. Don't bother contacting me anymore, because it's your first job. How are you not going to show up to your first job? If you have a flat tire, you get it sorted and you can say, I can come in such and such time. She literally just gave up and said, I've got a flat tire and I can't
Couldn't
come.
be bothered.
Couldn't be bothered. And there's so many people out there like that.
Yeah.
And then people wonder why they can't get a job. It's because you don't put the work in. Do you know
what?
I mean?
I think I honestly think oh God, I'm going to sound so old now, but I think it's the younger generation as well, because I
100%.
think we're the sort of the last generation that have got that really good work ethic installed into us.
Yeah.
And then the younger generation, they just I feel like they don't have that. And I remember Matt was looking for a dog walker, and he trialed a fair few people, and there was this one young girl that went on a job with him. First day was on her phone the whole time, walking dogs, and I'm just like, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah. So after that day, I'm like, she's done. She's not coming back again.
But your workers have to interact with the owners, right? And so they've got to be friendly and nice.
And they need to be paying full attention to the dogs they're walking. They need to make sure that, there's no dog fights and they need to have full attention on the dog, not be walking around on their phone.
It's like watching children, essentially,
It's a
but
bit-
just
it's a
in
Very
dog
similar.
form.
Very similar. Yeah.
Because imagine if one of your workers lost a dog.
Yeah. Honestly, I always freak out that sometimes that'll happen. And I ask him, I keep asking him, are you scared like you might take the wrong dog home or you lose a dog? He's like, no, you can't do that.
So far, that hasn't happened.
No.
Yeah, no, of course, no. And Man's Bestie's got an excellent reputation. I know very well that many people talk highly of your company, of your business rather. Yeah, so it's quite good. Quite good. Matt Musique, you had a business at one point. You had a Musique production company, didn't you?
I was sort of small, I guess. I was just doing production work here and there, audiovisual.
Yeah.
Back in the days.
How did you find running a business?
I was pretty hard.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What happened to your business? Did it stay afloat? Did you have many clients?
I was just doing helping out other production companies as well.
Yeah.
and working with friends too.
Okay.
But I didn't really take it further to turn it into like a big production company because, there's other big companies out there and it's competition. So
That's no reason to give up, Missy K. It's no reason. That should be motivation to push you harder and do better and beat your rivals.
Speaking of competition, actually,
Yeah.
you wouldn't have thought that
Yeah.
there are so many dog walkers out there.
There are.
Unbelievable. I think
Wow.
when Matt got into the business,
Okay.
I think it's honestly only then when I started noticing dog walker vans and things like that driving around, and I just thought, how many people are seriously in the market for a dog walker? But my God, you'd be surprised.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you? Sorry, Matt.
A lot of people work very hard and don't have the time to walk their dogs during the day. And it's not just people that work too hard. It's also elderly people. It's also people with injuries. There's a whole different various reasons why people need their dogs walked and why they don't have the time or capacity to do it themselves. But they still love their dog. They don't want to give their dog away.
not.
Yeah.
But the dog needs to be walked as well.
How do you find the clients? Are there any clients that are difficult or demanding?
Not really. Most of my clients are very good. I don't really have many difficult clients, actually. I'm pretty lucky in that
Good
way.
variety of clients, but
Yes.
Yeah, good variety. Good variety in what I said. Some people that work too much, elderly people or injured. I have a different, vast different types of clients. But they're all very good. They're kind of like my family, so
Yeah, absolutely. And have you had any difficulties with members of the public? I imagine sometimes you'd be walking several dogs at once, and maybe people might be upset about that in a local park.
Not really. The maximum I do is 4 dogs. I don't normally do more than 4 dogs at a time.
Okay.
And that's generally the limit that you're allowed to kind of walk at the one time as well. 4 dogs per one person.
No one's ever made your job difficult out there in the public?
Not really. There is kind of one lady that went off one time because the dogs were barking at her because she was like cringing and lifting her shoulders up and acting scared. Can I tell everyone that's listening right now, if a dog's barking at you, don't cringe your shoulders and look in a frightened state, because that's going to make the dog bark at you a whole lot more, okay? And after that one dog's barking, and then there's going to be about 3 or 4 dogs, they're all going to come and start barking at you because you're acting scared and strange. The best thing to do is just be relaxed and keep walking and don't pay any attention to it. Like, she had the worst reaction that kind of sparked these dogs off.
She overreacted.
The dogs reacted, and it was a bit of a scene, but other than that, there hasn't really been any issues with the public.
Local councils, are they supportive of what you do?
They're supportive when you pay them money.
Oh, you have to pay them money, do you?
You got to pay them money. Money talks.
Can you tell us about that? Because people might not know about that.
Yeah, so for 10 hours, I think it's 10 hours a week is like $380 something, or
what?
To
Really?
use the council's parks and dog parks and things
if
like
you're
that.
doing 10 to 50 hours, you got to pay $500 something a year.
But is someone there to check? Or
Absolutely, they got the park rangers looking for you. Yeah.
I
So
think
what do you-
there's this
yeah.
one park ranger that has it in for Matt, I think.
Yeah.
Who, stalks him from across the field.
Really?
sometimes.
Oh yeah, there was this one guy who was going to give me a fine because I shouldn't be. I don't know if I should be saying this stuff.
No, don't incriminate yourself.
I'm not going to say where, but I was at a certain park that
in
wasn't
New South Wales.
in New South Wales.
That narrows it down.
That wasn't necessarily a dog park. It was just an open park, and these dogs are very well trained. Like I'm not going to let kind of crazy dogs off the leash. These dogs are like little cute cavoodles that kind of follow me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
And this park ranger thought he was like Terminator T-100. Like came up to me
By the book. Yeah.
and he's like, your dog shouldn't need to be on a leash. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Well,
And then like he actually scanned the dogs and was threatening that he's going to give me a fine.
Scans them with a microchip reader.
Yeah, he
or
scanned
something.
him with a
Oh,
microchip
wow.
reader. Yeah. And he said that if I don't give him my name and address, then he'll issue fines to the to the owners of the dog. So then I gave him my details, but that's what we got to deal with in some of these councils. But
Sorry, go on.
yeah, but that's what we got to deal with. We're in times of COVID and people are struggling, and then they got park rangers out trying to find people for having little cavoodles running around at a park. It's ridiculous.
What do you have to show the park ranger when he approaches you?
Well, technically, I don't have to show him anything. I just gave him my name and address, and then he sent me a warning letter. Yeah.
And this park ranger, you've come across him a few times?
Actually, no, just the one time. But then I did see him another time, and it turns out it's not just me. He's going up to everyone and warning everyone about their dogs off the leash.
Wow.
It's like a $300-something fine just for having one dog off a leash. So if you got 2 dogs, that's $600-something.
Yeah, just myself talking to people in the public, quite a few people are unhappy with local councils at the moment.
The council in our area are very rough, and the streets, say for example in Meadowbank, they haven't built the roads to match the amount of apartments in Meadowbank, and then on top of that, there's no parking. So then people are trying to park anywhere they can, and then they've got park rangers there finding anyone that parks in the wrong spot for any 5 minutes. Yeah, it's an absolute joke, and the whole thing was built on dirty, corrupt deals that were made for these apartments to go ahead. Like all these, council members got so much money under the table, even though everyone's screaming, that we don't want all these apartments. They still went ahead with it. But anyway, that's a whole other podcast.
Gladys Berejiklian style.
Don't get me started on Gladys Berejiklian. I'll tell you that right now.
No, of course. I know about the floodlights too over the parks. I know that they're not turned on at night, and quite a few people are upset about.
But what time do they shut it off?
Oh, they're just not on at all now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you find your competitors? Because you mentioned there are many other dog walkers. Are they nice? Are they cooperative? Do they try to trip you up?
Most of them. Oh, actually, I've got a story on that actually. But most of them are nice. I don't want to mention names, but there's a Brazilian guy that I get along with really well. He's a really nice guy. Me and him always, have a chat when we see each other. But yeah, in general, most of them are very nice, and because it's basically like work. Like when you go to work, it's a lot easier that you get along with people when you show up to work, right? So for me, it's work. I go there every day, Monday to Friday, sometimes Saturday, Sunday. It's a lot easier that I get along with all these people than have any kind of weird tension or friction, and you know what I mean. Otherwise, it's going to make my day shit. You know what I mean? So I'd rather have a good day than have a bad day.
Have you ever taken a client away from another dog walking business?
Once.
Okay.
Once, but the dog was a little bit problematic, and I actually, and then I actually had to cancel the dog as well. So these guys canceled the dog. Then they called me. I gave the dog a go. I saw some behavioral patterns that I didn't like, some unpredictable behavior that I didn't. It was just a little bit unpredictable, and I don't want to ever put any dogs or anyone at risk. So if I ever see that there's a risk of anyone getting hurt, then I automatically cancel the dog straight away.
Do you mean children or bystanders or other dogs?
Anyone. So children, dogs, people, any harm to any kind of person or animal. If I think there's a threat, I'll cancel the dog straight away.
How would you feel though if a dog walking competitor took customers from you?
I don't see it happening though, to be not sounding arrogant or cocky, but something insane would have to happen for that to happen. But I don't really see that happening.
And I think you've got to understand as well, a lot of dog owners especially, some of them, these are their fur babies, and they're not going to just jump from one dog walker to another. They need to build that relationship and that rapport together. And, and Matt does that. He's great with his clients.
And I think anyone that wants to get into business, it's not just about dog walk. I actually learned a lot from this job actually. And I've learned a lot in terms of just basic business skills. And I think one of the first layers, if you want to be successful in business, I think one of the first steps or first layers is trust. If you can establish trust with you and your customer or you and your client, then kind of the sky's the limit. Everything can start from that level of trust. But obviously trust is built over time. And how do you get trust when you just meet someone? That's a very hard thing to do. But once you get good reviews, then some people can trust you straight away and stuff like that. But one of the first levels is trust. And then I would say second level is respect. And then the third one, they got to like you as well. You got to be a likable person. But I think one of the key words is trust, because I've got keys to all these people's house. Like they have to trust me. Do you know what I mean? So and you got to be reliable. You got to show up.
Absolutely.
I know that your business has a fantastic reputation, and in fact, you can't keep up with the demand. There are more dogs than you can handle, and you've got to knock people back, in fact.
Anyone reliable looking for a job?
Sometimes it's starting to pick up now. It was pretty quiet in the COVID period. I probably dropped 20 to 30% of my business during the COVID period. But now it's starting to gain traction because people are starting to go back to work and things like that.
How do you develop trust with a complete stranger, a new client? How does that work over time?
It might sound cheesy, but really I'm just being myself. Like I'm not trying to do anything like extraordinary. I'm just literally just being myself, and that's all. That's the only way I can really answer that, because that's a really hard question to answer, actually. How do you build trust with someone you don't know?
I think it's also about being transparent. I know for me in my real job, it's all about being transparent. It's all about honesty, and I think that's how you build that trust, because if you can show that, then, you'll get that reciprocated back from the client or, whoever it is. So,
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of episodes ago, we had Henry on, who spoke about Uber, and he mentioned that the taxi industry has lost a lot of customers to rideshare apps, and part of the reason why is trust, in fact. People
not trusting in the taxi drivers, or
well, not only that, but just more inclined to trust Uber, because it's an app. You can see the driver's ratings, and that sort of thing.
I could debate that, man.
Yeah, and I'd like you to.
Okay, how many stories do you hear of these creepy Uber drivers doing creepy stuff, man?
Well, look, I've got
It's
something
not just the taxi drivers, man. Uber drivers be doing it too.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
that is true. But those
Henry was supposed to be here tonight, by the way.
I know, he failed big time. Henry, if you're listening, next time we're going to have a good podcast next time when you come on.
Sorry, Muzike, go on.
So I was saying, obviously with those Uber drivers, they used to be taxi drivers.
Oh, I
So
see.
they're ex-taxi drivers.
Come on, man. You can't. No. We're not every single Uber driver used to be a taxi driver. Don't go there.
not. I didn't say not every.
Just the bad ones.
Just the bad ones. There we go.
I'm talking about the bad ones where there used to be ex-taxi drivers, which they're giving Uber a bad name and they're doing stupid shit.
Oh, they're doing it deliberately to sabotage Uber.
I'm not sure about that, but you're hearing, like
I don't believe that either.
they're
I don't
doing
buy that.
stupid things.
But they're
or-
damaging their own reputation.
That's right. They've got their
they're
name
rating.
to it. Come on, man. They're not going to be like, oh, I used to drive taxi and now I'm going to sign up to Uber and I'm going to do some weird, creepy shit and I'm going to risk criminal charges just so I can screw Uber over. Come on, man. That makes no sense whatsoever. You got to be the stupidest person ever if you're going to have that logic.
Now you know where the passion comes from.
Yeah, no, that's all right. But Muzike, can you rebut that? Can you come back?
Well, look, it just comes down to the Uber driver.
Yeah.
They provide the customer service, and if the passenger doesn't like them, then they give them a 1-star rating, for example. It brings down their star rating. So it all comes down to the driver, man. I'm not talking about the actual company, Uber.
Yeah.
Right. It's the actual Uber driver that's providing the service.
So wait, does
it's
that
not
mean
the
if I was to
brand.
order an Uber and I saw the person that wanted to pick me up has got 1 stars?
Okay, so
does that work?
I don't think
it
they
won't-
can drive. if
They
they're
can't do
1 star.
it, right?
If the Uber driver's rating falls below some certain amount, then
4.7.
it will be
I think the minimum is 4.7.
yeah, something like that, and then they will be suspended. Then they'll be told to do retraining and stuff.
What's the point?
Actually, can I bring something up too? There was, 2 podcasts ago with Henya, you talking about Uber, and he's talking about making $2 to $3 grand a week. All right, let's get it straight, everyone. Now, so 2 to 3 grand a week. Do you guys realize how much you got to be living in that car to make $2 to $3 grand a week? Let's be honest. He didn't talk about the hours he's putting in. You know what I mean? He's doing 12 plus hours every day to be making that $2 to $3 grand a week. He's acting like, I've got all the spare time in the world. No, you don't. If you're making $2 to $3 grand a week, you're living in that car.
Yeah.
You probably go home and sleep. You wake up and you're driving Uber again.
So for you, it's not worth quitting your regular job for.
Well, it depends what your regular job is. If your regular job really sucks and you hate it and you like driving cars, then maybe it's the way to go. But be prepared. If you want to make $2 to $3 grand, you basically got to live in your car. You got to tell the whole facts. Don't tell half the story. Tell the whole story.
Yeah, Matt when he left his full-time job.
Yeah, well,
and he went. He walked. But how many kilometers do you do, or steps do you do a day?
I used to do 20,000, but now it's between 10 to 15,000.
On average. Okay, so on average, a normal person would maybe do between 5,000 to 8,000 steps a day.
Okay.
If you're really going to excel, you're going to do 10,000 steps. Let's be real.
Yeah.
This guy walks in excess of 10,000
Wow.
steps a day.
Yeah.
He's putting in the
It's a
effort.
healthy job.
It is a very healthy job.
And I'm very a naturally lazy person. So that's why I think this job is perfect for me. Because if I didn't have this job, I'd just be sitting around. Well, my last job before was IT. So I just sit down and just be on a computer all day. And
In front of the screen and your
front of the
eyes would hurt.
screen, not moving. Like I read some studies that like apparently sitting down and having an IT job is like just as bad as smoking like nonstop every week. Like sitting down and not moving is like one of the worst things like you could be doing to your body, you know, other than smoking or taking like illicit drugs and stuff like that. So so I'm kind of lucky that I'm in this job because it makes me move. Otherwise, I'd be like
And see
50
that-
plus kilos than what I am right now.
As opposed to, who was it? Sorry, Henry?
Henry.
Yeah,
sorry.
Henry.
As opposed to Henry that sits in a car for 12
Hours,
hours a day,
yeah,
12
yeah.
hours a day, you know.
He's lucky he's not fat.
How do you...
Well, look, obviously he takes his breaks and stuff. you know.
Yeah, but
Take
then
your
there's a
break.
break,
Yeah.
and then there's, you know, how many breaks can you fit in that 12-hour day of driving a car?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like a long distance driving.
Yeah.
You're doing short trips.
Yep.
You know, here and there. So I don't know.
Well, while we're here, I might get Muzike to share his view because, Muzike, you work as a driver in heavy transport. How do you find sitting down? Like, I mean, obviously you're not working for Uber and you don't – there's some control there over the hours you work, but how do you find sitting down for so long driving?
Well, I mean, look, driving a heavy vehicle, you know, doing trips and stuff, you know, you've got your breaks in between. So you get out and, you know, move your legs, get the blood flowing going and stuff.
Okay.
But, you know, your first half shift can be like, you know, up to 4 to 5 hours. But, you know, between the trips, you know, you get the breaks to your next run.
But you're not walking all day for a living like Matt.
No,
You're-
it's obviously different.
You're
But,
sitting
you know,
down for most of the time, right?
yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Is it a healthy job, would you say? Honestly.
Yes and no.
Yes and no? Okay. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you see yourself doing a job like Matt then? Perhaps, you know, a job
Well,
that involves a
he's-
lot of
look,
walking.
He's scared when my Boomba came up and approached him today, man. He ain't going to be able to do my job.
Well, Matt's passion in, you know, dog walking and all that. Everyone's different, man. You know, everyone's got a different talent in a different
true.
industry.
That's
so,
true. Yeah.
you
I'm
know,
not
you've got a
comparing
good
you guys.
voice,
No, well, thank you.
radio
Yeah.
voice. So I'll give that to you, man.
Shucks. Okay.
And I go walking with Matt. I go to work with Matt.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I hate it. I'll be honest. Like,
What do you mean you hate
no,
it?
I mean I don't hate going to work with you. That's not. I hate walking. For me, walking.
She hates
is-
walking
I
in
can't
general.
stand
Not,
it. Just in
not
general.
walking dogs. Let's get that clear,
Yes,
Terry.
walking dogs,
She
yes.
hates walking in general. She loves dogs.
I go just for the doggy cuddles and the
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
kisses and just to see all the puppies. But walking and I genuinely think to myself, how the hell do you do this every single day? Like I couldn't.
You prefer to be in the office?
I'm an office kind of a girl. Yeah, I'm an office.
Man, my
We're all
last job,
different.
okay, my last job in IT was so bad that I used to sit and look at the screen and I would be so bored and there'd be no work to do and I would get so bored of the internet. Facebook would be done. Instagram would be done. Every single social media would be done. I've scrolled entire every single page. And then after that, I'd still have 2-3 hours left in the day.
Wow.
And then I'd be like thinking to myself, there has to be more in life. Like I'm so like you know, down low, like you know, low key depressed. You know what I mean? You know, I just thought there has to be more than life than like what I'm doing right now. I'm literally just like rotting in this like office from 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and I'm a prisoner here and I can't go anywhere. And then having said that, it was actually a good job. I still had a car, could go on site to different places, but that's how miserable I felt. I felt like a prisoner between 8:30 and 5 p.m. and that there's no escape and this is my life and there's nothing else. And that's, you know, the things that was going through my head in my last job.
And that's how Man's Bestie was born.
Yeah, and
ladies
that's how Man's
gentlemen.
Bestie was born.
Well, you did something about it. I think a lot of people are unhappy in their regular 9-to-5 jobs, but they're not prepared to do anything about it.
You know what? I'm not unhappy in my 9-to-5 job.
course not.
I love my job.
Yes,
but
that's cool.
but I'm one of those people. I could never fathom leaving my job. I've been there for 10 years. Like,
Your colleagues are great.
My colleagues are great. Like, I love it. And I think when someone is in the position that Matt was in, and I saw it firsthand because he would come home and he would just be really sad and, you know, hey, how was your day? It's like, ugh, it was crap. I'm like, all right. So when he started talking about doing dog walking because I want to do dog walking. And I just, like I said in the beginning, I'm like, this is just such a pipe dream. Who walks dogs? And I was supportive and I said, all right, go on, maybe walk someone's dog here and there and what have you. And you know what? It's funny because the first time he walked someone else's dog, the smile and the happiness that gave him, and I saw it firsthand. And I guess from there, it's how Men's Bestie was born. And as a partner, I freaked out. I'm like, you're going to leave your 9-to-5 full-time job, like a job where you get a steady paycheck. To go walk dogs, where it's not viable. It's funds here, there, not steady. But you know what? He loved it. He absolutely loved it. And I don't think in the 2.5 years he's been doing it that I've ever seen him have that feeling of, oh, this is crap. He loves it every single day. Like there are hard days and there are good days.
Just follow your passion and your
loves
dreams.
You got to follow your passion. And on a financial perspective, when I first started the whole Men's Bestie thing, I was only making like about $150 to $200 a week, like starting out. That's it, $150 to $200.
Yep.
And now I'm making like double what I used to make in IT per week. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So like the opportunities are there. If you really want what you want to do, go out and do it. Like there's nothing stopping you. Sometimes, yes, you got mortgage, you got bills, you got all these things you have to pay for where you feel like you're stuck in a trap, you're stuck in this job. You need to pay for your mortgage, your phone bill, all your electricity, your kids, you need to pay for dinner, you need to pay food on the table, all that kind of stuff. But if you can find a way where you can kind of chase your dreams and follow your passion and work in that, industry that you're passionate about, then you can always make it work. But you just got to make that first step. You got to make that first leap to do it, which is the hardest thing to do for some people. And but if you really want it, you have to make that first jump for sure.
So it was a risk then for you.
For sure, for sure it was risky.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like because I worked in the IT industry, I kind of had the little bit of cockiness and arrogance. Little bit of cockiness, I would say that if things didn't work out, I could just get a job in IT like straight away. It's you know what I mean.
Fall back on that.
I could fall back on it, but I never really wanted to fall back on it. But I knew I could if it came to that level that I had to.
Yeah.
But when I started my business and started pumping that's when I was really pumping the flyers. Like when I started that, $150, $200 a week, that's when I was really pumping like crazy, like just going out everywhere. Yeah. And literally like with the flyers, sometimes it might take like 6 months for one area to contact you. Like you could do like all of Hunters Hill and it'll take like 6 months for one person to contact you.
But persistence is key. Absolutely.
Can't give up.
No, you can't. You can't give up. And I think if you do give up, then you're failing yourself, really.
Yeah.
And he didn't give up. He just kept going and he kept going and he kept going. And you know what? He came through. I'll never forget. There was this one day when I was sitting in the car. I was going to work and I was with my friend, and I told her, "Oh my God, this is what Matt wants to do." And she said, "Really?" And I said, "Oh, like I'm freaking out. Oh, I can't believe he's going to do this." And then I'm going through my head, like bills and all of this, and how much is he going to possibly make? But you know what? My God, hands down to you. And I tell him this all the time. Yeah. He put his money where his mouth is, and he pulled through. He really, really made it happen. And like you said, he's making more than what he did working a job that he doesn't enjoy in IT. So,
for sure.
I couldn't do it. But
I think it's called trial and error.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Looking back is talking about error. What would you do differently?
With my business, like the current business, Men's Bestie, I wouldn't do anything differently. But with the one before that, when I was younger, I did make a bit of a rookie error. I don't know if I should mention their name.
You don't have to mention names.
Who cares? Let's mention their name.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So Event Cinemas. Okay. So the biggest cinema company in Australia. Right. So when we made the deal with them, it was all well and good. And, you know, because they're the big company and I'm just a small business, you know, we made a deal that, you know, so what I did with the promotion company was basically mobile billboard advertising. So the scooters, you know, those scooters that's going around, they're pulling the billboard trailers.
Yep.
They're very dangerous, by the way. Like,
Well,
they're very sketchy. They're very dangerous. That's another reason why I actually stopped that business.
in windy conditions.
Windy conditions, they're so sketchy. Rain, like, oh my God, those things are a nightmare, right? And I've seen like I've seen some bad stuff like in that business. Not with my business. I worked for another business before that did the scooter mobile billboard advertising, and I've seen some crashes.
I can just picture a trailer blowing across several lanes.
Oh, okay, I'll tell you the story. So I worked for this company, and they did the scooter mobile billboard advertising, and they were on George Street, and I was like three scooter convoy, and there was this poor little Asian girl that was working with us, and she was in the middle, I was in the back, and I don't even know exactly what happened, but like she was in front of me, and the trailer went boom, tipped left. And went bang and just smashed in the middle of George Street in the city. Almost smashed into a Mercedes. Like, it was such a nightmare. The poor Asian girl was so scared. Like, we all had to like get off the scooter and make sure she was okay and all that kind of stuff. And but yeah, she ended up being okay. But yeah, they're sketchy. So don't even employ those type of companies unless you want potential lawsuits coming ahead. You know what I mean? But anyway, so back to the point of what I'm talking about with event cinemas. Okay, and what I learned from that till now.
Yep.
I think it's an age thing too. Like when I was younger, I think I had a bit of a temper. I might have been a bit of a hothead when I was younger, but now I believe I'm a lot more chilled and a lot more mellow and a lot more kind of cool, calm and collective. But at the time, you know, we signed a deal with them and they wanted everything kind of half price. And, you know, they're the big, you know, mogul company that took over Greater Union, you know what I mean? Like
they're asking for discounts.
Yeah, they want discount and they know they can get it because we're the small, you know, local business and they're the big mogul, you know what I mean? It's just typical like big business, you know.
Bullying tactics.
Bullying small business type of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was excited. It's Event Cinemas, you know, like they're the biggest, you know, cinema company in Australia. So I'm like, I don't care. I want to do anything with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, the first deal we did like a half price deal. So we had the mobile billboard go out and the promo girls handing out like discounted tickets to, you know, the local cinema. I'm not going to mention which one, but, you know, the local cinema to here where we are right now. And anyone that's listening can figure it out where it is. But anyway, the first guys that I deal with were really nice. They were very professional. They were very easy to work with, and they were very impressed with what I was doing with, you know, with my promotions company. And so everything went well, and they were very happy. The feedback was good. A lot of the our promo girls that were handing out the flyers, a lot of the customers that were coming in with the discounted tickets, so they were using the tickets. So, you know, my promotion was working very well, and they were happy. And then all of a sudden, those guys that I had the good relationship with, they've moved. So you know what I mean? So they went to say Sutherland area, and all of a sudden there's this new chick that's in, you know, she's the manager now. Like she's the head. She's in charge of that particular cinema, and I've got to deal with this new person now. And I've got a meeting now with her. My dad was there too, and we've got this meeting with this new person, and we're going to talk about, you know, striking up a new deal and you know, doing some new campaigns.
Yeah.
And I think I put my foot down way too hard. I think I put my foot down way too hard, and I think I took it a bit too personal. And I was trying to tell her that we're not doing half price deals anymore. Now it's full pricing. And I think it's the way I said it and the tone that I said it in my voice that I think she got turned off. And I think she was kind of put back a bit, the way that I came so hard about saying that we're not doing half price deals anymore. And after that, that, there was no more campaigns. There was no more deal with event cinemas. Like everything was done.
Okay.
And I think I learned a lot from that mistake. Like don't take things personal in business. Don't get a hot head. No matter what the situation is, never get angry. Never, even if you're frustrated, don't even show it. Like always keep a cool head. Always stay cool, calm, and collected, and always stay and be professional, and don't take things to heart, and don't ever show your like real raw emotions is what I would advise to younger people trying to start a business. Never take things personal.
Yeah.
It's like don't send an email when you're angry, right?
Yeah,
that as well. Yeah.
I wait till the morning after, and usually I delete
draft it. You can draft it, but just don't press it.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a doggy sitting at home bored in Ryde or a surrounding suburb?
If so, then call Matt at Man's Bestie on 0430 56339. Search up Man's Bestie on Facebook or check them out at mansbestie.com.au.
Treat your doggy today and get in touch with Man's Bestie now. First walk is free when you mention the Late Night Fix. Going back to what Muzike said earlier, he mentioned that when Uber gets in trouble, it's not the brand, it's the individual driver.
Yeah.
Right?
That makes it real easy for Uber, right?
That's right. But you also said, I will challenge you here.
Okay.
You also said that sometimes you've got workers that don't rock up, and that's embarrassing for you. That's embarrassing for Man's Bestie.
Yeah.
What do you do there? Do you take do you cop the blame, or do you say,
If I'm the boss, I always got to cop the blame. When you're the boss, that's part of the downside of being a boss. So if something goes wrong, you have to cop the blame for sure.
Yeah, fair enough. I understand. That's good. I think that's it's good. It's good in one sense, but also, I mean, if you are a worker, you do have to consider who you're working for, and you are representing your brand and your business and your company. So it's a bad reflection, I think, on the worker too, not just on the.
It is, but part of the problem is they don't really care, and that's the issue. I think that a lot of business owners are having with their staff is, sometimes it feels like they don't care, especially if they're not showing up for their first shift. Like, how could they possibly care if they're not, putting that kind of effort in?
Yeah, and you've put your heart and soul into this, haven't you?
You put everything, like you put your time, you put all this time building websites and doing this and that, and then you hire someone that doesn't even show up for their first shift. Like, what? Yeah. What is going on?
But this is your livelihood. Like, this is your money.
That's right.
You don't.
It's how you support. Yeah.
This is how he supports himself. So yeah.
Well, Matt, I wanted to ask you, how do you do your interview process? Is it over the phone or is it face to face?
With my Man's Bestie, there's not much interviewing going on. To be honest, a lot of the interviewing I did was with my last business, the promotions company. That I had heaps and heaps of interviews. I was like a interview mogul after that job. Nice. I would just interview after interview. Yeah.
How do you prefer to interview? Do you interview over Zoom or telephone?
No, face to face.
Face to face.
You may have said that. Yeah.
So they made the effort to come to the interview, but then they don't rock up on the first shift. So that's
exactly. Yeah.
So
bit counterproductive, isn't it?
Aside from honouring your commitments and having integrity, how else can someone impress you if they want a job with you?
Okay, you know what I used to say with the promotions company? Because I used to know exactly what I wanted, and it's going to sound a bit cheesy or whatever, but I used to want someone that would say, like, Matt, just give me a try and let me prove to you, like, that I'm a good worker, and let me prove to you, like, what my worth is and what I can do for your company. Like, no one's actually said those words. And it's not even that complicated to say that. Yep. But, no one has said those words, and that's what I was looking for, but no one came up and said that.
Well.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy training people up?
Yeah, I don't mind it. As long as they put the effort in and they're willing to work, then I don't mind it. But the lazy ones I get rid of straight away. I don't have time for people that are not going to show up and not be punctual and stuff like that.
Yep, absolutely. The basics, guys.
So a message for everyone that's listening right now. If you're young and you want to work, make sure you show up to your first shift, okay? Yeah. Step 1, show up to your first shift. Step 2, always be punctual. Step 3, do what you're meant to do, and don't be on the phone when you're meant to be working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. I think I'll put this out there, but I think a lot of people are fed from a silver spoon.
100%.
Yeah, they don't want to climb their way to the top. They want to get to the top straight away, right? They don't want to.
It's so funny you say that, because I had a girl come in and it was her first day at my job. and she seemed really distracted when I was showing her, things.
Yeah.
And then I said, "Are you okay? Like, how are you finding things?" She goes, "I just want to learn everything, just so I can do it straight away." And I thought to myself, well, why don't you pay attention to what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll get it a lot quicker, and you'll get to your end goal a lot easier.
Yeah.
And you're right. I think these people are just, some people are spoon-fed, and it's so annoying. I just think for yourself, have a little bit of self-awareness. Know what you're doing.
When you're training someone up and you give them feedback, what's their response?
You know what? I've done a lot of training in my job, and my feedback is always constructive. You've got to be constructive, but at the same time, you've got to have empathy as well.
Yeah.
And there's believe it or not, there's actually a structure where you a guideline of sort of points where you follow, where you can give feedback and good constructive feedback. And I'll just say, you're doing a really great job.
Yeah.
These are a couple of areas here that maybe we can look at improving together.
Yeah, sure.
And they take it on.
Has your boss ever told you to terminate someone's employment or anything like that?
No, but I have had a hand in having
I was about to
a
ask
few
you.
people terminated.
Yeah.
It's honesty. You know what I mean? I think whether it's my business or someone else's business, it doesn't matter. In the end, it's still my paycheck.
Sure.
So the way I look at it is, if it's my check, it's a bit like my own business as well. You know what I mean? I've got to look out for what's going on as well.
Yeah.
But I'll give my honest feedback.
So can I guess that you've told your boss at some point that, look, things aren't working out with Sandra and we're going to have to get rid of her?
Yeah, absolutely.
You've had that conversation?
Yeah, I've had a couple of those conversations. Yeah.
Wow.
You have to. Otherwise, you know what? It's those silver spoon-fed people that get to the top when you think to yourself, God, how the hell did you get there? How do you run a company, or how do you do what you're doing when you have no idea?
Yeah, I've got to say to you, being in the workplace, I mean, you've got workmates and you've got colleagues and then you've got friends outside of work. But really, when you're at work, you're there to work.
To work, yeah.
And if you've got no idea what you're doing, you might be the sweetest person in the world, but,
Bless.
Yeah, you got to go. If you're not.
But it was funny because I'm having a bit of a conflict with someone, where I work.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to Matt about it, and I won't mention the issue, but it's funny because, you go through the time, you give your feedback and you're like, can I help you? What can we do together? And then they just continue to make errors and you just think to yourself, why? Just why?
Yeah, because you're trying to help them, aren't you?
You're trying to help
But they're
them.
not listening.
They're not listening.
Yeah.
And you know what? Maybe some people are just not cut out to do what they're doing.
Could it be an ego thing as well that they maybe? I don't know.
In this scenario, I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's like like she's not good at doing this job.
She can't do, she can't. She's not capable.
She's not capable. Like she's screwing up and like
But
I don't want to get into detail, but like bills are like. Can I say?
No,
okay,
don't.
I don't know. But like,
you know what?
they're pretty big screw up. They're not like little screw up. It's a big screw up that can implicate and do bad things in the business.
It's causing harm.
It's you know what? It's a domino effect of just errors, and you just where does it stop?
And if it keeps happening, it's just going to be this big shit show, and then people up top are going to be screaming, and then people like Jean are going to cop it and have to explain, even though it wasn't really even her fault at all. But it's something that she has to deal with if this person keeps screwing it up.
And I think that's the hardest part as well. And I think with you, Matt, as a boss, like you try and train these people, or you try and tell them, look, you're not doing the right thing. But
you've
if
got to
they're
show
going
up.
to keep screwing up, like he's the one that's going to show up. I'm the one that's going to have to explain, why this has happened and what I've done to mitigate that risk.
Yep, for sure. For sure.
All right, I've got a question for you, Muzi. I've got a question. Driving a bus, give me the scenario of one of the worst patrons that's walked onto your bus and tell me what happened and tell me how you handled that situation.
Actually, it was recent. Had this drunk dude. He had like I think bottle of Coke or something, and he jumped on my bus, and I knew he was on the wrong wrong service.
Yep.
And anyway, he's just what is it, like drunk and stumbling around and then swearing to himself and stuff. He didn't even tap on, didn't even have a mask on.
Wait a minute. How do you know that he was on the wrong service?
Because I couldn't pull into my correct bus stop because there was another bus there. So I had to go to the next one, which was just further up.
Oh,
and then
okay.
he thought that, this service was going to Manly, for example,
Got it. Yeah.
So he just jumps on and says hello or something, and then starts mumbling and swearing and to himself, and then sits in a disabled spot and then starts throwing the bottle like at the window and stuff and swears. I don't know. He was just out of it. Like he was drunk or intoxicated or on the drugs. So I just kept calm and kept cool. And then, down the road, whatever, he pressed the stop button. Yeah. And then I noticed that because he was sitting in the disabled spot, there's like a stop button behind him. He was moving back and forth. So I stopped and I checked and, obviously no one was getting off. So, continued on. Then he kept doing it. The stop button, the bell was going off. So I just disabled it and reset it.
Yeah.
Then it happened again, disabled, reset. So then I knew a few people, the passengers were going to get off the next stop. So so they got off and stuff. And then he came up. He was like, "Oh, you going to like Manly?" I'm like, "Nah, mate, you're on the wrong bus, buddy."
And then what did he say?
So he goes, don't worry, I'm going back, back to where you jumped on from. So, okay, just take a seat, relax, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then, it was just, I don't know, in his own world, losing it again. And then I said, dude, just relax, calm down, we're going back to where you jumped on. So.
Oh, you took him back?
Yeah, because it was a loop service. It was a loop service.
Yeah.
And then got to the destination and he jumped off and then started apologizing to me like, "Oh, sorry, mate, I'm just a bit drunk or whatever. And normally I'm not like this." Okay, all good, man, all good, we're here now so you can get off the bus,
Do you ever freak out like someone's going to attack you or?
No, I mean, we're all safe. We got that safety barrier.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like a plastic shield or something?
Yeah, something like that, which is strong, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have that back in the day.
They didn't.
Everything was
Nah, not
open.
in back
Yeah,
then. And there was no
everything was open.
security cameras at all too.
Oh, wow.
And then when the drivers had the cash tray, they used to get robbed
all the
as
time.
well.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right, because it used to be right at the front.
Yeah. So, but it's not anymore. It's all
So
just.
I guess that's one advantage of I don't even want to say those words, getting rid of cash, but that's one advantage I think in that particular business to get rid of cash is there's no robbery now.
Yeah, well, it's just quick and efficient for public transport. Just tap and go. That's the best thing. Or else, you got to deal with the change and, some guy gives you $100 note. Fuck, you don't even have the change for it.
Yeah. Having
And
said
then you
that,
end up giving him a free ride, right?
Yeah, just jump on.
having said that, I don't think it's a good idea that New South Wales get rid of cash, which is what I think they're trying to push now. Very close. Yeah, they're trying to get rid of cash, and they're going to use COVID as an excuse. Did we talk about this in the other podcast? I can't remember.
I'm not
didn't.
sure.
We didn't?
No.
Okay. Yeah, so it's actually on the New South Wales website. They're actually mentioning now getting rid of cash, and they're using COVID as a scapegoat of getting rid of cash. Do you know how many businesses that will destroy? Like, there are so many small businesses that survive and kind of only really run on, or majority mainly on cash.
Yeah.
That would destroy so many small businesses, and I don't think that would be a good move at all. I think that's a very dangerous move forward, because once you get rid of cash, then all that money is just numbers on a screen. There's no real kind of hard evidence of money other than numbers on a screen. And I think that sets a very dangerous precedent. I don't think, cash should be banned at all. Cash is a very important part of our financial system.
Have you noticed that they're closing bank branches as well too,
Yeah, they're
and getting
closing
rid of
them down a lot.
ATM machines as well? Because it was on the news or something saying the RBA percentage of cash withdrawals and all that has gone down. Everyone's just tapping.
For sure it's gone down, but there's still a lot of people that use cash. Like, there's still a lot of cash going around. There's still a lot of people that use cash. And
I think it's mostly the elders, is it?
Yeah, mainly the elders, but there's a lot of businesses that either only accept cash or mainly deal with cash.
I know the barber that I go to, when I get a haircut,
Yep.
when I go to pay with my phone, he goes, "Oh, cash only."
Cash only.
Yeah.
That's
But
right.
he does have a FPOS machine.
but he
Yeah,
still
because
says
he has
cash
to pay
only.
fees on
I
it.
know. So
It's like a few restaurants.
Even any
in
of those,
Eastwood.
exactly. I was about to say that. Even any of those Asian restaurants you go to, they always want cash. Like most of those, Asian, they always want cash. They don't even accept card. They're like cash only.
cash money, please.
Yeah. What are these businesses going to do when they ban cash? They can't say cash only
Go to
anymore.
Star City,
And
maybe
the
London.
FPOS machine is always broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
always broken.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
You just go and say, "Do you accept Bitcoin?"
It's been broken for years. In Hong Kong, they've got this octopus card, which is similar to our Opal card, but you don't only use it on buses and trains. You can use it in convenience stores to pay for things.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I
octopus
think
card.
Transport for New South Wales or the government has mentioned something that they want to
Yeah.
integrate with the Opal card, where you can pay for Uber, taxis, or
that's probably
convenience
coming next
stores.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I
It'd
think
be
they're
cool on
working
Uber.
on it.
Because my phone dies sometimes at the end of
think
the
it's-
night.
Yeah.
I think it'll be basically just like a MasterCard or Visa card. So your
Yeah.
Oyster card is going to be essentially the same thing as a Visa or MasterCard, where you can use that card anywhere.
You
Yeah.
can tap on with your PayPal.
Yeah, of course.
PayPal,
Yeah,
sorry.
your card.
Yeah.
But
With
obviously,
your card, and tap and pay, yeah.
But you
PayPal, sorry, PayPass,
PayPass.
pardon me. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if you pay with your key card or your phone, whatever, on public transport, you're paying an adult rate, and I think it's a bit higher than if you use the the Opal card, where it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, actually, when I was in Hong Kong, I made a mistake similar to that drunk guy. I was catching a ferry home, and the ferry trip, it was the last ferry of the night. The ferry trip is really 10 minutes across the harbour, and I was on this ferry for more than 40 minutes.
Oh my god.
Were you throwing your Coke bottle at the glass?
I freaked
Swearing
out.
just randomly?
I freaked out, man, and no one spoke English. It's Hong Kong. I would have thought at least somebody on the boat would speak English. It was, only a few years since the British handed the island over to China. So, no one spoke English. We got to this island and it was a cemetery.
Oh.
I was stuck on a cemetery for about 4 hours
Wow.
until I could go back. Yeah, but I thought I'd mention that. That was a cool
Oh
story.
my god.
So you couldn't get in contact with anybody, or
A dude did end up speaking English. He lent me his phone, and I texted my roommate back at where I was staying at the university, and I just explained the situation, and apparently I had to wait for it. There was no way around it unless I swam back,
Oh, yeah, right.
which I wasn't going to do.
Imagine being
Yeah.
stuck on a cemetery for 4 hours.
Yeah, Lantau
That's crazy.
Island.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's
I'd freak
crazy.
out.
but was this at
Yeah.
night or during
Yeah,
the day?
night or day?
It was.
Oh,
At
night
nighttime.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
Even
it was
worse.
an island in Hong Kong called Lantau Island, and where the ferry stops is a cemetery. It's huge. I just slept there.
Oh, wow.
For a few hours.
Oh, you slept there as well.
I had some food on me in a plastic bag, and these stray dogs
Oh, wow.
smelled it. They approached me, about 5 or 6 stray dogs. They started fighting amongst each other for the food. I just gave it to them and I walked off. There's a small police station, so I asked them if I could stay there for a bit. And
So you
Yeah.
slept in a cell, basically.
I don't know if it was a cell. It was like a waiting area. It probably was a
Okay.
cell. Yeah, it smelled a bit like urine. So
Oh,
maybe it was a cell. Hey, I actually wrote about that story and I submitted it to the uni and I won a prize with it.
Oh,
really?
wow.
I won a trip to Fraser Island, which I gave to my dad.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
That's so
So I got something out of it.
Very good. Very good.
To end this episode, I wanted to end with a rhyme. So what we're going to do is I'm going to choose the word dog and we have to come up with one line each that rhymes with dog. So here we go. I'll kick off and then we'll go this way.
Okay.
all right.
Jeez,
Okay.
Harry.
Walking my dog through the fog.
I came across a big fat hog.
And we both got caught in the bog.
And he had a slob.
Beautiful.
And that was his job.
That was his job.
And don't be a snob.
Thanks, Jin. And thanks, Matt.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks,
you.
guys. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Guys,
Thank
don't
you.
forget mansbestie.com.au.
and it's only for the Ryde and surrounding suburbs.
Ryde and surrounding suburbs. So first dog walk is free when you mentioned the late night fix.
That's correct.
Beautiful. Muzike, signing off, please.
Well, thanks, guys. I hope you enjoyed episode 8 and stay tuned for the next one. See ya.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't like single fillet patty or whatever. I don't know. I just love a double. Yeah, nah. You know, like the double ones, yeah.
Every single bit of it just tasted like muddy water. Like it all had the same taste. And I was so stupid. I didn't even think like, oh, this food could be dodgy. I actually just ate it all. I was like, could not leave my hotel room for like 3-4 days. Like I was on the toilet non-stop.
Yeah. I get the non-stop text messages in the days leading up to going to Chubby's. Bro, are you excited for Saturday?